What?
You can hear this. You are not alone. This is the resistance.
What's up, everyone? This is the Tin Man with REALTWWRN. If you are watching this, you are the resistance. And we are brought to you by Netflix Review.
Oh, I wish, man.
I'm in a good mood. And everybody knows, you can see from my background, anybody who knows me knows, I'm a collector of toys. I love toys. I'm a big kid.
Same here, man. Same here.
So you see me every episode, got my Shredder helmet on. Yep, the original. That is actually in a 3D printed replica of the original Shredder helmet from the original movie. Yeah, I love my toys.
And as for myself, I am Raven Ordo. I am from the Anonymous Metabody Network on YouTube. And on Rumble, I run the channel of the Council of Generation X.
Yes. I am sorry, dude. I am off my game today. I am sorry. I'm just jumping right into topics. I didn't even introduce you. I am such an asshole. But you know what is really an asshole move? When it comes to toys and media and whatnot, it getting sold to fucking kids, man. Why you always gotta sell it to kids? Like, take this, for example. Collectible doll from Wicked. And what makes this collectible is not just because, the movie was popular.
Yeah.
But because of something that happened with this toy. Now, there was a recall on these toys because somebody fucked up big time. If you can see it, somebody put the porn site for the porn company Wicked on this product instead of the movie website. Now, a lot of people would argue that that's a fluke, but this seems to happen all too frequently. How many times do we see in media and in marketing that toys and child-based products have sex or satanic messaging in them? And it just happens more and more and more frequently as time goes on. I mean, Disney in particular has been notorious for this type of behavior. Yeah, The Little Mermaid, the priest popping a boner, the original poster and movie cover art. One of the towers of the Mermaid City was a freaking penis. I mean, you could argue that it was the designers being smartasses, or characters in the movie doing this shit, or sex in The Lion King. I mean, the list goes on and on. You could say that's the animators being smartasses and whatnot. But it happens all too frequently. And companies, major league companies like Disney and Mattel and Hasbro, they have people to vet these products. I mean, hell, in 1992, was it, when Batman Returns came out, there was a huge uproar with parents and even the McDonald's Corporation because of how violent the movie was. So much so that McDonald's actually pulled their Happy Meal toy line for Batman Returns because they did not want to be associated with that movie, given how bad it was. I mean, this was a movie that was marketed to children. And you got the Penguin getting flushed down into the sewer as a baby, growing up and molesting people and kidnapping little kids and just all kinds of fucked up shit. And it kind of makes you wonder, it seems almost deliberate that these companies are marketing this type of mindset, if you will,
They're
to children.
they're marketing an ideology. If you remember, they fired Gina Carano after season 2 because of what she said, because she had an opinion on X, and people have been wanting to get rid of her since season 1.
For those who don't know, elaborate on that for me. What show she was on,
Gina
and
Carano,
what she said.
Gina Carano is an ex MMA fighter with the UFC who got into acting. If you remember Fast and Furious 6, she did a fight scene with Michelle Rodriguez. She also did. She also was in the first Deadpool movie and stuff, and she played Kira Dune in season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. Kathleen Kennedy fired her because she made a comment on X
that was too conservative.
Yeah, too conservative, and people who follow an ideology wanted her like gone from the show, just like they wanted Rosario Dawson gone because she was playing Ahsoka Tano, the older version of a much older Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars and Rebels, and any ideology that, look, I'm a conservative.
That's true.
I'm a conservative and a libertarian, and yes, I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm not no beta male.
Please don't drop your pants and prove it.
No. Anybody who speaks out against their ideology will feel the cancel culture, which I don't give a shit about that culture because to me it's dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Woke culture to me, woke culture and cancel culture are dead, deceased, on arrival.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have companies like Hasbro that is famous for the game Monopoly. That they produced all the Power Ranger merch for the Lightning collection. They produce Ghostbusters content. They produce a lot of stuff.
Ninja Turtles.
They produce some Ninja Turtles. But I digress. They're very famous for a lot of their product line, and their biggest seller to date is still Monopoly. But one thing that they've gotten a lot of flack for, and I don't know why they did it, why anybody would be stupid enough to do it, they started marketing Ouija boards, not to adults, but to children.
Yeah.
As a game.
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah, and they've gotten a lot of shit for it. And this is nothing new. Like you said, they've been doing this for years. And, you mentioned Star Wars. Let's go back to the beginning for the original Star Wars. Carrie Fisher played Princess Leia. She actually had an interesting discussion with Lucas because she wasn't allowed to wear a bra. Because apparently, according to George Lucas, in the future, women don't wear bras. So Carrie Fisher is running around in this white dress, titties bouncing all over the set. And this is a franchise that was, again, marketed to children. A franchise marketed to children has got Carrie Fisher's titties bouncing all over the place. And then, we all know what happened in part 3, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Princess Leia slave bikini. I mean, These are franchises that are marketed towards children. And yet sex is being put into these dynamics, into these franchises.
Well, not just that, though. You have these hardcore feminazis saying there is no strong woman in Star Wars. Come out.
Carrie Fisher was
Princess Leia.
Carrie Fisher's character from the start was the strong character. She
yeah,
was pretty much.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Ahsoka Tano.
Princess Leia in the original franchise in the 70s was pretty much the main boss bitch in that franchise. Luke didn't have a clue what he was doing. He was a freaking farm boy. Han Solo was just the scruffy comic relief. You know, Leia Organa was pretty much the boss, the leader of the resistance, you know, directing a farm boy and the scruffy comic relief.
I think she called him a scruffy nerf herder.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
but you get the point.
Princess Leia, Femi Amidala, Ahsoka Tano, Mon Mothma, all Rey. These were strong women.
Yeah, man, not a lot of people liked the Rey character, and this kind of happened with, you know, during the woke culture. But traditionally, even from the beginning, strong women, even in leadership roles, strong, competent women, were always key players, even if their titties were bouncing all over the place. But, you know, woke culture, we all know, is pretty much runs Hollywood and the music industry. You know, that is the nesting ground of woke culture. Woke culture is Hollywood. Hollywood is its health spawn.
It's a village of overgrown children having a social temper tantrum.
Well, you know, like Connor was saying before, you know, let's try to include him a little bit. You know, he's not able to be with us today. You know, he's got some personal stuff going on. But, you know, he's pointed out in the past, and, you know, this is confirmed, you know, these industries are Jewish owned, which is funny because Walt Disney himself was very anti-Jew. Yeah. I don't know to what extent, you know, whether it was, you know, a hatred for Jews or just anti-Zionism or what.
So was Charles Lindbergh.
Yeah, so Charles Lindbergh was too. Mm-hmm. All these people were anti-Zionist, maybe even anti-Jewish, and it was, you know, it's now coming out in abundance, you know, that prior to World War II and the rise of Hitler, that Germany had a woke pandemic happening within their media, in their literature, in their music.
Yeah.
Was an infiltration by the Jewish people pushing these same woke narratives. Everything we're seeing today is reminiscent to what Germany and Poland and other countries in that region were being subjected to back in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, on up to the rise of Hitler in World War II. And apparently his biggest premise was trying to eliminate what would now be considered woke culture in his society, in German society. Take it for a second, Reverend.
Well, prior to World War II, I mean, you had Mussolini, who was a fascist. You had Hitler. He was a socialist, National socialist. And then you had Stalin. He was a communist. And you had a communist, Stalin, and a capitalist in Roosevelt working together to take on a fascist and socialist. I mean, it's all one cabal of wokeness in that time period as well. So it kind of bred on throughout the last 80 years. But I don't know about that during the Cold War, because Cold War didn't start until about 1950.
Yeah, it was the tail end of World War II, the beginning of 1950s. Like, World War II ended in what, 48?
45, yeah. Because after 45,
longer than that.
Because after 45, the Nazis that were still around, they were the ones who were part of the hierarchy that weren't captured until later on. They took the Odessa, the rat line through the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And a good majority of them went to South America because there was a huge German population in South America, and they were Nazi sympathizers.
Yeah.
Some went to Argentina, some went to Venezuela, some went to Brazil.
Some even came here to the United States.
Yeah. And it is a very complex time, within the last 80 years. I mean, Cold War didn't end until 91, officially 91.
Yeah, when the Berlin Wall fell. To my opinion, NATO should have fell with it. But I digress on that. But you notice that they didn't have woke culture in a lot of those countries.
No.
Woke culture seemed to be a very prominent issue in the 1920s and 30s, and is now happening again 100 years later by the same people. And like I said, it's been being propagated slowly but surely, being integrated into society. Just gradually over the course of time, and then just somebody decided to hit the gas and put the pedal to the metal.
Well, not just that though. I mean, you had the LGBT propaganda, which, I mean, you see. I mean, look. The thing is, we know there's lesbians, gays, and bis. Okay, we know that. Okay.
Yeah.
They keep throwing around this trans thing. Okay, what's trans? Okay, let's really lift the veil. Okay, can we, folks?
Yeah, go for it.
None of this didn't start until later on in the late 60s, early 70s. Okay, you have cross-dressers. You have female impersonators, right? What's the one thing that nobody talks about? It's very, very rare. Drag kings. What are drag kings, right? Drag queens are men, just like women and women clothing. Drag kings are women dressing in men's clothes, right?
Yeah.
You can't say there's a trans man, trans woman. Don't exist. In my opinion, don't exist. Okay, don't exist. There's drag
Yeah, and
kings
if they
and drag
do
queens.
exist, they're not as prominent as the other.
Now, if you all remember in my age, the show All in the Family. It was a special 3-part episode where Edith and Archie becomes friends with a female impersonator, a cross-dresser, you know, where the character dies trying to protect Edith Bunker from a robber. It was a very monumental episode, and it broken down barriers for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
Not the LGBT, the LGB.
Yeah, it's just a name that's gradually added more letters over the past, 50 years?
Past 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it started back with
there
just
was
being
no T, there was no T, there was
LGB.
none of that shit. It was straight up LGB. Lesbian.
Yeah, you had LGB, and now it's LGBTQ plus, whatever. But, it started in the 70s as LGB.
The 70s was a golden age.
It really was.
It was a monumental golden age for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
It's very monumental.
Like, my thing is, how the fuck did they get away with this? Back in the 50s, people were having fucking shit fits about Elvis shaking his hips. And then in 1960, you had the original Star Trek where the female cast members were in skimpy uniforms with skirts that barely covered their butts.
Well, not just that, you had Captain Kirk and Uhura, who was a black female member of the team. Kissed.
Yeah, she was the first, one of the first female leads to ever be cast on live television.
Yeah, and
first female minority, I should say, to be cast.
Her and William Shatner did a kissing scene in an episode, and
yeah, they got a lot of shit for that.
And I mean, times were changing. Nobody wanted to change. Look, folks. Things cannot stay the same. Times need to move on. We all need to move on from this.
Okay, but in what direction do you move? I mean, yes, you have to move forward, but the question really has to be, what direction do you move?
They need to move with their eyes and ears open and an open mind, Before you open your mouth, open your mind first, man.
Yeah, because we become a very sexualized society to where this stuff is being propagated in grade school, in elementary schools. You have drag queen story time and shit like this, even to the point, and it's gone so fast that even many prominent drag queens are going, what the fuck? Why is this drag queen story time a thing? Why is this a thing? We're adult entertainers. This isn't for children. Why is this happening? When you have people who are drag queens going, why is there drag queen story time? This is wrong. At what point does somebody pump the fucking brakes? And even so, it's still very subtle that it's being thrown into the mix. Like you take Power Rangers, for instance, the movie that came out in 2017. They had one of the characters as a gay character. They can't. It was gay. It was a gay character. Why was that necessary? And it was just a one-off comment. Didn't have any impact on the story really whatsoever. It was
because
completely irrelevant.
They want to push this shit. Like Velma, Scooby-Doo. Longest time she had a thing for Shaggy. Right? All of a sudden, she's now a muff diver.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't followed Scooby-Doo in years.
I remember as a kid watching Scooby-Oo. I watched Scooby-Doo every day when I got out of school.
Yeah, I mean, all of us grew up
because we all know,
we've all seen Scooby-Doo in one format or another.
We all know that Fred and Daffy were fucking.
Yep.
It doesn't take a genius to see that shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, even back before then, you look at the Flintstones, they were doing cigarette ads with the Flintstones back in the day.
Exactly.
You'd have Fred Flintstone singing about smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. Line up a Lucky Strike.
Yes, thank you.
And the Flintstones was supposed to be an evening cartoon for adults.
Really? So basically, it's the Rick and Morty of its time.
Yeah.
And
then Wilma became pregnant. First ever on anime TV. That was another monumental thing, And
but still, it was also marketed to kids. It may have been directed toward adults at first.
Advertisers, you had advertisers, you had censors, all shit. Just like really just flipping out over that, over that.
Yeah. Well, you have shows that were geared for adults initially, even in modern times, like SpongeBob SquarePants. That was initially intended for adults.
Yeah.
But quickly became a children's show. And even then they slip in sexual shit. Like
there's an episode where SpongeBob and Patrick were ridding things off of a trash can.
Yeah, the whole profanities thing.
And I'm like, my son and I admit this. My son and I watched the episode, and we were laughing the whole fucking time.
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah. Well, I mean, you have another episode where SpongeBob was buried under the concrete, and you think it's his nose sticking out of the concrete, and Mr. Krabs grabs him by what he thinks is his nose, but it's actually his fucking dick. Grabs him by the dick and rips him out of the ground. And you see his face with his nose clearly showing, and Mr. Krabs is clearly holding on to something else. And this blew right by the censors. And I get that there are certain things, that you insert adult humor, for the parents, that'll go over the kids' heads.
Animaniacs.
You have, Animaniacs. Good night, everybody. It's like, no. It's like, I found prints. No, fingerprints. I don't think so.
Well, the people are like wondering, why did you say that?
Yeah.
Why do you say, good night, everybody? Stop it.
Yep.
Stop. Look.
It's like, yeah, I'll conjugate with you.
Anybody
good night, everybody.
Look, anybody who watched it 25, 30 years ago. Think about it. Just stop and think for a moment here, you know?
Yeah, the kids weren't getting those innuendos, but adults were for sure. I mean, I was long since an adult before I understood a lot of the shit. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, you have to really, as a parent, my mom had no problem because she didn't know I was watching in my room. You know, shit. You know.
Yeah.
I watched Animaniacs, you know, during the 90s. You know.
Yeah. Animaniacs, Tiny Toons.
And I mean, a lot of this now, a lot of this stuff goes back to the 60s and 70s, because when you have movies like Fritz the Cat, right?
Yeah.
A cat who's in college, overly sexed, looking for snatch, gets high, all that shit. I mean, all this stuff. It had censors. People were like, "Fuck, what are we watching, man?" But the thing is,
I mean, you look at Ren and Stimpy. That was clearly a show for adults, and yet it was marketed to kids during
Ren and Stimpy,
regular television viewing hours for children.
Guy, Futurama, American Dad, you know, all that shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching The Simpsons.
If you look at anime, Cowboy Bebop, Inuyasha, Ghost in the Shell, One Piece, you know, all that shit, you know. Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, me and a coworker were actually talking about that the other day.
Dragon Ball Z, the old man who's like singing some titties and shit, like.
Yeah, don't you have like an episode where a young Goku is smacking some chick on the snatch and he freaks out because she ain't got no balls?
Thundercats,
yes.
He-Man.
Another show that was marketed towards children. You know, there is so much sex being marketed to kids that we even growing up just never even realized. It's insane to think of how prominent it actually is, and it's gotten to the point now to where society is screaming, "Oh, you know, woke culture is the problem." You know, and it started way before that. And by the way, I see we got 8 viewers. Yeah, hold on one second. I see that we've got 8 viewers. Feel free to join in the comments. They will be displayed on the side of the screen. Feel free to join in the conversation.
If you look at organizations like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you know,
yeah,
you have people who have a very shitty past history, unknown to others, that have gotten in trouble for doing sinister things to young kids.
Yeah, but yet they get away with putting it in the media.
Who runs the Boy Scouts? The Mormon Church.
Yeah, it used to be the Mormon Church, but I don't think that they really have anything to do with it now, you know, since it became the Scouts. I think that whoever's running it, I think that changed hands. Don't quote me on that. If anybody who's watching cares to chime in the comments, let us know. Does the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints still have any involvement with the Scouts program?
The last time I know is that when my son was younger, he was in Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
with Mormon Church, and he didn't want to be in it. You know, and
why is that?
The guy that was running the Boy Scouts at the church, he was very determined to have my son join the Boy Scouts. I told my son, I go, look, if you want to join, don't join, man. son. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable, hey, just leave. Just leave.
Yeah.
Because there's some parents that do find the Boy Scouts kind of suspicious, in a way.
Yeah.
Look at
Well, I mean, when people ask us,
look at Boys Town in Nebraska. That was founded during World War One.
Yeah.
By a priest.
Yeah. So this is nothing new. I mean, sexualization of children and exposing them to sex and satanic material and propaganda is nothing new. And I think it's safe to say it's been there all along. So long as there's been media, it's always been there. Sex and Satanism, to some form or fashion, has always been there. I mean, isn't the saying in the industry, in the music industry in particular, that you got, in order to make it in the music industry, you got to sell your soul?
Yeah.
You hear Eminem and so many artists talk about that they had to sell their soul.
You lose
to make it in the industry.
You lose a piece of you, a part of yourself within the industry. I mean, you look at hip hop and rap and Satanism.
Yeah,
it's something that needs to be talked about more, because Cat Williams,
yeah,
he got attacked many times for exposing this shit.
Yeah,
Professor Griff of Public Enemy, KRS-One, those guys.
Yeah, and even Ice Cube has been very outspoken about a lot of things. Like, he was saying, back in the days of NWA, one of the big reasons he left was because their manager, who incidentally was Jewish, Ice Cube was being accused of being anti-Semitic when he left NWA, because his manager, who was Jewish, tried to fucking get him to sign on to a shady fucking business deal after fucking making him wait for the longest time on that record contract. And when he finally got the contract, it was in a fucking dark room, and he wouldn't even let Cube read the fucking thing.
That's why,
from what I understand. I mean, there was a lot of
album. That's when he did the album No Vaseline.
Yeah.
That album there was a big middle finger and a big fuck you to NWA and Jerry Heller.
Yeah, I mean, he really didn't have any issue with his fellow artists. The only reason they had the falling out was because, they sided with their manager and Cube didn't. And I think it was, in the end, it was really just Eazy-E who wound up staying with his manager up until his death.
Yeah. 30 years ago.
Yeah. But, Dre wound up going his own way. And so did Cube.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I wasn't big on hip hop at all, but I did follow, Tupac and Biggie in the late 90s. I followed Public Enemy. I was a fan of Third Base, the Beastie Boys, Comedy,
yeah,
Grandmaster Flash, and the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah,
right there.
I mean,
right
Straight
there,
Outta
right
Compton
there
is a good insight into the industry.
Right there was true hip hop. Right there, true.
Yeah, and again, Straight Outta Compton, that's a good insight into, what happened there between the members of NWA and, you know, kind of a good insight into the industry. I mean, it really didn't talk too much about the sexualization, but Cube himself is very outspoken about how the industry is used as a machine. You know, a lot of people who own the prisons have holdings in the music industry, and gangster rap was used as a platform to propagate the gangster lifestyle and make it appealing so that people would pursue that lifestyle and then subsequently wind up incarcerated.
Suge Knight ended up killing somebody at the studio where it was being filmed.
Yeah.
And the guy he killed and the guy he ran over was part of that cast.
Yeah.
And the rumor was that he wanted his piece of the pie. Like,
well, I mean, where money's involved, it's always going to be a problem. It's always about money and control in these industries. I mean, you look at Disney. I was actually watching a documentary last night. It involved Ryan Reynolds pretty much getting fucked out of his residuals. I think it was with Disney on Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, they were already filming and most of the film was done. And, you know, his upfront pay was fine. But, you know, his pay on the back end, he got fucked on the contract. He thought he was going to be getting the same money that Fox paid him as, you know, an actor, director, and writer and producer and all that. And he wound up getting fucked on that. And there was basically Disney's way of flexing on him, saying, hey, we're in control now.
That's why what he did when he did that fourth wall break and he mentioned Disney.
Yeah, but it seemed like he was for Disney in that. It's like, fuck you, Fox, I'm going to Disneyland. But now, like, it seems like Deadpool might be dead because Ryan Reynolds is very upset that they pretty much fucked him out of not only creative control, but also the money that he was making as pretty much the brainchild of what Deadpool is in modern society. And apparently there was also a whole shit ton of lawsuits by the families of previous creators that have worked for Disney that only got base pay on commission.
That's why they bought Fox Studios, because they wanted full control of the whole entire Marvel Cinema Universe.
Yeah. And, you know, Universal still has, like, I think, limited control over Hulk and maybe Spider-Man. Yeah. You know, there's still a little bit of creative control as far as, you know, dual hands on that pie.
Universal Studios have the rights to Transformers.
Yeah, but nobody's really doing anything with Transformers other than what Michael Bay did. It's just anybody who picks that up now is just fucking continuing what Michael Bay did. And even then, you know, that was a kid's thing. And you got fucking Megan Fox on there showing her fucking ass. You know? Yeah. And, you know, a lot of that had to do with the writer-director and all that, you know?
Yeah.
Freaking Michael Bay. You know, he's had a hard on for her since she was a freaking teenager, apparently. You know, he's kind of a creep in and of himself, from what I read.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, he brought her into that franchise to serve as eye candy. And because he wanted to fuck her. And she shot him down, and that's
she did two
when
films.
he kicked her off the franchise.
She did the first two films.
Yeah, and then got booted off on the third because she wouldn't fuck him.
Yeah. Well, the reason why they brought in the third, this chick was in the cartoon. Spike was dating that blonde gal, same name, same name. So because basically, Shia LaBeouf is Spike. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly didn't really watch Transformers as a kid growing up. My thing was more Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, stuff like that. And even then, even in those shows, you had a lot of sex. I mean, who didn't want a piece of Amy Jo Johnson from Power Rangers?
She wore those
Who
shorts.
didn't?
She did one scene where she wore those shorts, and you could just barely see her giblets.
Yeah. And there's other times where she's wearing skin tight, yoga outfits, doing gymnastics and whatnot.
Yeah.
Didn't leave much to the imagination there.
Oh, no. I
mean, like, wow, little boy is going, hey, what's going on down there?
The studios have major problems, and Corey Feldman said the biggest problem in Hollywood is pedophilia.
Yeah.
Now he still brings it up today, and nobody will hire him now.
Yeah.
And because he's look out.
Yeah. You don't fight the hand that feeds, even if the hand is diddling a little kid.
The View, Dr. Oz.
Yeah.
He did that with Corey Haim, the two Coreys. That was a flop. Mm-hmm. That was a flop because him and his ex-wife at the time, they were on fucking drugs and shit, and just really ruined Corey Haim. Good actor. Great. I mean, Corey Haim was a good actor. Lucas, Silver Bullet, The Lost Boys,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at what happened on Nickelodeon with shows like All That. All the stuff that came out just a few years ago regarding the original cast of All That on Nickelodeon, all the shit that was going on there. They were getting into adult nightclubs. These were kids getting into adult nightclubs.
iCarly.
Oh, yeah.
Jeanette McCurdy, she didn't come back because of Dan Snyder. This guy had a feet fetish, and he had the cast on shows show their feet. And like really, you're gonna bring this guy in who has a foot fetish and shit? A sick bastard, man? Like, dude.
Yeah.
Why that's why Jeanette McCurdy didn't come back. They offered her $500,000 to come back to iCarly. She turned him down. She said, no.
I mean, get rid of the creep, and then maybe we'll talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like they want sex being sold to kids. And, everybody's speaking out about it now, but it's always been there. I mean, Michael Jackson got accused of rape and child molestation numerous times throughout his career. But we know now that it's always been a prominent thing in the industry.
93 and 03.
Yeah.
In 93, Michael Jackson bought half of Sony. It owned it.
Which included the Beatles catalog.
Yeah.
And Sony wanted exclusive rights to the Beatles catalog, and he wasn't giving that up.
His kids own the rights to the Beatles stuff.
Yeah.
He put it in the will. He owns the rights to Eminem and the Beatles.
Yeah.
And all that is in the will to his kids.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because, Eminem took that that pop shot. In fact, he actually took a couple pop shots at Michael.
Yeah.
Back during the early days of his career. And instead of getting into a heated rap battle with him or anything, Eminem wound up being owned by Michael. Michael just said, fuck it, I'll just buy your catalog. Fuck you. You want to be a smart ass? I'll show you what a smart ass is.
But this is my opinion here. I think Sony hired the doctor.
Yeah.
To kill Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be a pretty well common consensus. Didn't the doctor actually wind up facing charges?
He was charged with his murder, but it was manslaughter. They gave him 5 years. He got out in 3.5.
So involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and wasn't Prince? He died from fentanyl overdose because his aspirin was laced with fentanyl.
Yeah.
And that was because he wanted to gain control of his catalog.
And when he did that, after he did that, he mentioned chemtrails. Now imagine that shit.
Yeah, he was
never married.
He was very outspoken, saying, we are in the Matrix. Like he really did kind of go down that rabbit hole publicly.
He never married, had no kids. But yeah, when he died, they said, cause of death was heart attack. The guy was healthy, dude. The guy was vegan, by the way, vegan vegetarian, never ate meat except for pussy,
Yeah, he ate a lot of taco. Come back.
But the thing is, you got to really think about, okay, the 60s, right? The 60s. MK Ultra, COINTELPRO, Vietnam, that bullshit.
Yeah.
A lot of these rock stars were on LSD.
Yeah, sex, drugs, and rock and roll was the big thing. That's where it all started.
But
was in the 60s with the hippie movement.
There was a few of them that were getting off of LSD, really coming clean. The FBI were feeding these guys LSD to keep them wasted and shit, really, But
yeah,
a lot of them were waking up to this bullshit, MK Ultra, COINTELPRO, all that bullshit, and they ended up killing Brian Jones, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Hendrix. They ended up killing what was his name? Black guy, black entertainer, very, very well. Sam Cooke was shot and killed. Someone took over, took his rights and shit, and his royalties and stuff, and Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers.
Yeah.
Fools Fall in Love. A lot of these entertainers, even back then too, they were heavily washed by the studios, because like they say, you're worth more dead than alive.
Yeah, and you're not an artist. You don't have creative control of the product you're producing. Somebody else owns your catalog, and you're just a voice. You're pretty much a billboard for the woke agenda, for lack of a better term, no matter how far back it goes.
Sam Cooke.
You are you're a tool of the propaganda machine. You are a billboard.
Oh, hell yeah.
A mouthpiece for a suit pushing.
There was a few
narrative.
There's a few that started their own studio. Started their own company.
Yeah, like Insane Clown Posse. They formed Psychopathic Records. Twisted, Twisted, who used to be with Psychopathic, they left and wound up forming their own label. And, they wound up having a fallout with ICP, but they did wind up going out and forming their own label. Tech Nine, he's an independent artist. He runs his own shit. Yeah. Who else? Those are the top three that I can think of.
There were a few that started their own label.
I know M is a producer now. He's predominantly a producer.
Dr. Dre started Aftermath.
Yeah, which wound up being changed. What was it? Yeah, Aftermath was the final product, but it went through several name changes over the course. I can't remember offhand what it was originally.
I watched a thing about the ICP. It was a really good documentary, man, about Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, well, I noticed like ICP, they really don't get political. Like they interviewed Violent J prior to this last presidential election, and they asked him, who he'd vote for, and he said, "I'd probably vote for Kamala Harris. I'd vote Democrat, because that's what my mom's always voted." That was the extent of any political narrative that he has ever really propagated. He and Shaggy 2 Dope has always been anti-racist. Their big thing ever since day one, fuck your rebel flag. Since the days of Carnival of Carnage, they've been, not so much anti-Southern, but, the anti-racist Southern stereotype.
Yeah.
But even then, they were pushing some very risque shit, especially in their early albums. I think there was one about them, one line where he said, he's ready as long as the necessary. And, ever since Violent J and Shaggy wound up having kids, they really changed their tone and became like very anti-pedo, having produced a song called How to Catch a Predator, which is actually a really good song.
About that.
Oh, you got something.
Roblox.
Elaborate.
Chris Matthews, the guy that started To Catch a Predator, he's getting involved in that because Roblox right now is in some deep fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, ICP's song had a very different narrative. You can imagine where that song went. It was very, very violent.
There's a guy on YouTube named Schleb, and he was a big Roblox YouTuber kid. He was working with the police, busting pedophiles on Roblox.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I've never seen it, but I have heard about it.
They ended up banning him because there was 6 pedophiles that were caught, arrested, and doing time in prison. And Chris Matthews, he is running a documentary titled Roblox, Take a Seat.
Yeah, wasn't he the guy that, was, his whole thing was tricking pedophiles into thinking they won a car and then driving them to the police station?
It was decoys, online decoys that were not really 13-year-olds. They were adults. Portraying themselves.
Undercover operatives.
Yeah, undercover. And it ended where a lawyer, a very prominent lawyer locally, ended up.
Okay, yeah. So I was thinking of something different. Yeah.
But
yeah, he's the guy that Boondocks made fun of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you now. I got my two genres mixed up.
Boondocks and South Park.
I don't recall the South Park one, but I did see the Boondocks one.
But they ended up calling this kid a vigilante. He's not a vigilante. He's working with police to catch.
Well, so did Batman.
Yeah. But there were major YouTubers that were part of the program that the company had. They left because of what they did to this kid, you know.
Yeah.
Because
quite a few anons have a lot to do with that too.
Schleb was also a victim as well, and they changed the policy where there'll be no vigilantes allowed on platform. He's not a vigilante. He's a kid who's now an adult who's catching pedophiles and predators on his platform because he wants to see kids safe on his platform, you know.
And just in general, I mean, you have so much shit going on in the world anymore. You know, it goes beyond, you know, sex being sold to kids. I mean, the human trafficking issue just in recent years has been insane.
Yeah.
I mean, and not just here in the West, you know, in Europe, you're hearing about it all the time about, you know, the rape statistics have doubled and tripled just in the past few years. And you have citizens, even children, being arrested for defending themselves against their assailants in Britain. I mean, we could have a whole nother episode on just what's going on in Britain, you know, with the censorship and them arresting their own who are just trying to speak out and protect themselves.
I want to look at a tidbit here. The Prime Minister of UK, not Mr. Prime Minister of the UK, England's Hitler and shit.
Yeah, this video just got banned. Carry on.
They passed the Online Safety Act. Ladies and gentlemen, this act is not. Look, they say, "Well, we're doing it for children."
It's not about control.
Have anybody seen The Simpsons? It's not about the kids, you fucking morons. It's about censorship. It's about control. The kid part is a Trojan horse.
Yeah, it's a catalyst. It's and it goes back to, you know, the same tactics that Hitler used. He'd freaking hold up children and do photo ops with children and, you know, show children all the time in his propaganda campaigns as well, because he knew that tugged on the heartstrings of the people.
Yeah.
And it's the same damn thing. Oh, we got to protect the kids. We got to protect the kids. Okay, where are you protecting the kids from? Drag queen story time? Or sex being taught to kids in elementary school or trans culture or any of that? Where's the protection for the kids there? You're gonna sit there and talk to me about protecting kids.
Now you
You're
got,
protecting kids from shit, you fucking pedos.
Now they're wanting Discord, YouTube, Spotify, and even view games. Show your ID, your selfie, and your credit card.
Yeah. I mean, you have new legislation here in the South, here in Tennessee. I saw it in the news a while back that they're requiring porn sites to have age verification. And a lot of these sites are refusing to comply and just not offering their services out here. They have a disclaimer page saying saying that they won't participate in information grabbing for anybody. Yeah, they refuse to participate in that.
After this happened, where you just says, "We want to see your ID, your selfie, and your card." I'm like, so I did a video on the StreamYard titled "Didn't Need My ID, did not need to show my ID to stream," and that got a lot of views, man.
Yeah.
Didn't show my ID, didn't show my selfie, and surely didn't show my fucking credit card.
Yeah. Well, like you know, they want your credit card information. I mean, unless you're making a purchase, you shouldn't have to provide your bank card or your credit card information. That is private information, because
if you're doing the YouTube TV shit, then maybe. But
yeah, I mean, unless you're, buying something, whether it be a product or a service, you shouldn't have to show your bank information, because look at all the data leaks that have happened just in the past several years. And now Britain wants you to fucking put your information online just to verify your age? Oh yeah, like people aren't going to get fucking robbed fucking blind.
And the rise of VPNs are at an all-time high.
Yeah, well, I mean, groups like Anonymous and others have been using VPNs and Tor browsers since the internet began.
Nearly
when groups like Anonymous came along, that was really their bread and butter.
Nearly 20 years.
Yeah, that's been their bread and butter ever since Anonymous's birth. And now Britain's trying to say, "Oh, you're in favor of the pedophiles if you do that." Yeah, pedophiles do use VPNs and Tor in order to access certain sites that you can't access on mainstream
internet.
Okay, that's no secret.
I've been using Tor for 15 years. I've been using Orbot for 15
but that
years.
doesn't mean you're a pedophile.
No.
And you can't even access social media platforms on a Tor browser, apparently.
No.
And because of all this shit that Anonymous got up to, because they've been tracking down pedophiles for the longest time using these tools. They were using these tools against pedophiles, fighting fire with fire. And now all of a sudden, if you're against VPNs or Tor, you're for the pedophiles. When we're at the age where Anonymous and groups like that who are hunting pedophiles, we're using those weapons in mass quantity to stop pedophiles.
What it is, brother, what it is, we're being told that if we use VPNs, in their minds, you're on the side of pedophiles.
Yeah, But don't you think it's
asshole.
ironic that happened?
Yeah,
when
but
we are at the peak of Anonymous and other anti-pedo groups using these tools such as Tor and VPN to hunt down and gain access to predators, to track them down, expose them, and lead them to arrest? Don't you think it's an amazing coincidence that all of a sudden these weapons are being used against pedophiles? These weapons that were initially used by pedophiles are being used against pedophiles. And all of a sudden, if you use these things, you're for the pedophiles and the predators? Don't you think that's an amazing fucking coincidence?
Yeah. And then we got Collective Shout. The Australian feminazis.
Oh, boy.
The Australian feminazis. Yeah, we're calling.
Yeah, if anybody needs to get boxed by a kangaroo, it's them.
Yeah, we're calling you out, you cunts. Here is a group of trouser stains who got caught creating a ghost account like YRV, Right Volunteer, claiming we're getting death threats. No, you're not. Yeah, on yourself, you dumb queasy quaking bastard. What the fuck, you know? And Deputy Prime Minister, big tech ain't threatening you, you shallow beaving queefer.
Okay, expand on that. You and I have talked about that quite a few times. Elaborate on these alleged threats by tech companies to the prime rib roast of the UK.
Now,
do expound on that.
Anybody who is right now pushing this narrative, this bullshit, they're going after tech companies who want to put them in line like 4chan. I love 4chan.
Just stay off B-board.
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna run into trouble, ladies and gentlemen. Just stay off B.
They want sites to show they want to push their little thing narrative on every country, including ours, right? They want platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Discord, and 4chan, all that shit to. But
what?
They're claiming. Well, she's claiming she's getting threats from Elon Musk and shit.
Oh my god! I mean, I'm not Musk's biggest fan, but dude, that guy gets so much shit for shit he didn't do. It's like, oh, he's a Nazi. He's fucking Jewish. How can you be a Jewish Nazi?
Deputy Prime Minister cunt. Elon Musk won't threaten you because he has better shit to do than wanting to see your skanky, beefy, stinky ass.
We just got banned in the UK.
Collective Shout. you Australian feminazis. You're creating ghost accounts to threaten yourself because you want sympathy. But you got caught wanting donations. Okay, how about I donate these nuts to you ladies?
These nuts.
They got after Steam for what? Having games that people pay to play? It could be Resident Evil. It could be GTA 5. It could be Call of Duty, Battlefield, The Last of Us, Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
SpongeBob. And yet you got Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal saying, we're going to censor you because we don't want you to use our system to pay for your goofy, violent game. Motherfucker.
That's not their call.
That ain't their call. If I want to pay to play a game, it would be Beaver Hunters 03.
Why is it my brain just went to Conker's Bad Fur Day? I mean, there's another one. How many kids played Conker's Bad Fur Day on N64?
If I want to pay to play a game like Resident Evil, I want to fucking do that.
Yeah.
If I want to blow the head off a zombie, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. What?
If I want to slice open a deer's butthole, I'm going to do that.
What games are you playing?
I don't know. But kidding aside, look, if I want to play a good game and pay for it, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back. It's the same argument that we've been having since the 90s. Oh, Mortal Kombat, it's so violent. It's so violent. You know, we're talking about the original Mortal Kombat.
Video games, movies, and music have a rating system. Okay, now, here we have a thing called COPA. COPA. Why? Because of YouTube's bullshit. $370 million for stealing children's data. Do you know what COPA is? Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. COPA is fucking working.
Okay.
And now YouTube got hit with a $30 million judgment.
Really? That's new. Elaborate.
Oh, yeah.
Lay on me. I want to hear it.
It's the same shit. Same shit. Now, YouTube has a thing for kids, right? YouTube for kids.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like that. We need that. YouTube, regular YouTube, is for people who are 16 and up. Who do content like gaming, true crime, documentaries, news, movies, right? Comedy, all that shit, you know.
Well, I mean, even just a few years ago, I was actually sharing this with a coworker of mine the other day, a video of ours that we did years ago. You know, our killer clown's safe for children. You know, when Connor, it was you, me, and Connor on a round table, and Mr. Giggles popped in, and Connor wanted to know, you know, how Mr. Giggles felt about kids watching his content, because we had the issue of what is essentially adult content intended for adults, not necessarily pornographic, but, you know, content for mature audiences. Mr. Giggles is being shown to children because their parents thought he was funny.
Yeah.
You know, showing our stuff, which is intended for adults, to children.
Yeah, like Alex Jones a few years ago. He had Millie Weaver on there playing the character of Millie Weaver playing the character of Rainbow Snatch.
Yeah, Mr. Giggles was obsessed with her. Yeah, I seriously think Mr. Giggles is a Democrat.
What is a Rainbow Snatch?
Can't be any worse than a blue waffle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a multicolored blue waffle.
You good boy. Oh, you good kitty. Huh? See? You're on YouTube. Hmm? I mean, the thing is,
now that kind of pussy's appropriate.
Yeah. This one is a legit for real. Okay, right? Are you good?
Yeah.
Are you good? Okay, good. But in all reality here, folks, it's just that kids are being sexualized by perverts,
Yes.
sick wackaloons. It don't matter what genre of entertainment, kids are still going to be sexualized.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's not up to the government to regulate that because, one, we know they're the ones pushing it.
Yeah.
And at least their handlers are. And two, it's up to the parents.
Yeah.
The government wanted the mothers out of the fucking house. They wanted to rip the fucking family apart so the government could teach their fucking kids. So the government would have complete control of the kids. Oh, we get to fucking influence their minds with the media if they're not in school. The kids will be in school all day while mom and dad are at work. And then when they come home, they got television and then now things like YouTube to where they're being programmed endlessly.
How
and
many
it's
guys
up
remember
to us as adults.
How many guys remember that didn't they how many guys remember Nintendo 64?
Like I said, conquer's bad for a day.
My son, at 7 years old, played Resident Evil and loved it.
Yeah.
He became a fan. He's seen every single movie of Resident Evil. He played the games. He read the comics. He read the books. He's seen Hunger Games, Twilight.
Oh, yeah. There's a movie that promotes some weird shit. Hey, friggin' necrophilia, bestiality, and pedophilia. They got all three on that franchise. And yeah, women loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freaking hoochie cheating. Well, cheating hoochie can't decide to go with the wolf
Or the bat.
or the dead guy. And come to find out that the wolf wasn't actually in love with her. He was in love with her unborn child. And so you got bestiality, necrophilia, and pedophilia all rolled into one sick, twisted, adulterous love story. And then people wonder how the hell we wound up in this fucking mess. We propagate it. We love this shit. I mean, here's one for you.
To be honest, I wasn't a fan of Twilight, man. Never
Well, I
was.
mean, look at this. Interview with a Vampire.
Anne Rice, yeah.
How many people loved these books? How many people loved the original movie that was vintage, abusive, narcissistic, psychotic relationship? Okay?
I've seen the Lost Boys.
What?
The Lost Boys. I've seen I've seen the monster movies from the early turn of the century, like Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, Mummy, The Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Godzilla, King Kong. Those were my movies growing up as a kid, even though I wasn't born back then, still.
Yeah. But even then they had they're alluding to sex and whatnot. I mean, what was the last line in King Kong? The planes and the bullets didn't kill the gorilla. Beauty killed the beast.
Yeah.
You know, they said it right there. You know, King Kong's whole thing was, you know, he was enthralled by her beauty.
But I mean, again, you got this whole thing with pushing this trend, this LGBT QQ crap shit in movies and I mean, movies that promoted this shit, they bombed. They bombed in the box office. Shows that promoted this shit didn't last very long. Not even not even 5 seasons, man, you know.
Yep. Star Wars is virtually dead because of woke culture. The DCU, which had a promising start with Man of Steel, is dead because of woke culture.
Yeah.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is in the fucking toilet because of woke culture. Snow White died because of woke culture.
Because they wanted a transgender DC character. They wanted to make a certain character that's been a long lasting time favorite go from man to female. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't like the Ghostbuster movies of all women.
Oh, the Who You Gonna Call from 2016?
Yeah. It bombed. It bombed. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a female cast, but the writing and the jokes in that movie were just atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to cut you off, but I got a little side story for you on that one. That movie was so bad. Lucid's son, Adric, we were watching that when he was like 5 years old. And we were sitting there watching that Ghostbusters movie, the Who You Gonna Call one from 2016.
Yeah.
And there was this bit where the phone was in a fish tank. And the kid goes, and Adric goes, Chris, why is there a phone in the fish tank? I'm like, it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a joke. He goes, that's not funny. That's stupid. And this is coming from a kid that was 5 years old going, that's freaking stupid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, they want to keep pushing this shit as much as they can. But here's the thing. It's not going to last at all.
No.
It may have its run, but in real reality, you know, what's the point? What's the fucking point of all this? You know, I mean,
it's to push the narrative. They want to control the narrative. They want to control what information goes out there. It's not about making money or even providing entertaining content. I mean, you listen to a lot of the music nowadays. I mean, a lot of people would make the same age-old argument. It's like, oh, well, I'm the old man rolling down the street and I hear modern music and I go, what the hell are these kids listening to? No, I think even most people would even agree, you know, even of the younger generation, that today's music is just plain fucking crap. You know, and a lot of this comes from even people of this generation saying, our music fucking sucks.
They wanted to introduce the first transgender clone in Star Wars.
The first what?
A first ever, from their universe, a transgender clone.
Why?
That's what I was saying.
I mean,
and the armor is white with rainbows on it and shit.
I mean, they know that nobody wants this shit. Nobody wants to buy this product. The new trilogy was a complete fucking bust. A series they did, I can't remember what the name of the series was. That was a total fucking bust.
The Acolyte. The Acolyte.
Yeah, where they suggested that, you know, the whole immaculate, where they reevaluated the Immaculate Conception thing.
Yeah.
That formed Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know, where they totally fucked that up. I don't know the details. I never watched the show.
Neither did I.
But
nobody watched it.
No.
After the first season, they canceled the second season. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not about good storytelling. It's not about art. It's not even about making money. It's about controlling the flow of information. They want people, especially children, to be subjected to this shit, even though society is screaming against it. So the question is, at what point what do you do when, you know, even multi-million-dollar companies like Disney are losing billions of dollars, but still push this narrative? I mean, you're hitting them where it hurts them, their wallets, but they're still going headstrong with this narrative to the point of their own demise.
Let's right now. I'm going to say something that will definitely kill this culture. Okay, woke and
no. I'm giving you the gun. Pull the trigger, brother.
Men cannot get pregnant. Okay?
No, that's absurd. Why would you say such a thing?
Kids cannot consent to this trendy bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
They're kids. That's why they're called kids.
Wonka, how dare you say that two men can't have a baby? How could you say such a thing? Well, that pipe doesn't go to the marshmallow room. It goes to the fudge room.
Women can only get pregnant. Men who become cross-dressers cannot become pregnant. Do the science, you cunts.
Oh, yeah, trust the science, except in this instance, right? But, you know, they know this shit. They know the public isn't buying it, but they still are moving headstrong with it. That's the question.
The woke culture science, fuck you.
Yeah. They want to. They want you to.
You can't cancel us. We're uncancelable. Why? Because we do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
We are too old to give a fuck. And to these feminazis, go home, go fuck yourself, and make me a sandwich.
Keep my stomach full and my balls empty, right?
Yeah.
I think we just became Andrew Tate.
No, we're not.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are going that red pill narrative, you know.
Dude, we're not Tate. We don't own a nice car. We don't own a nice house in Romania. We've never been in jail. No, I mean, shit, you know.
Well, I'm sure somebody out there could disagree with that sentiment. It's like, oh, well, I've been in jail. Like, yeah, I'm sure you have. Somebody
and to these cocksuckers who are playing against women, you're not a woman. You're a man cross-dressing as a cunt.
Don't you love it how
men's
feminism fights for men to be women?
Are for men. Women's sports are for biological women who can get pregnant.
Well,
you cucks.
Well, I mean, you look at it this way. Why would men want to be in women's sports? Say they can't compete against men in the male division. That's the only reason they go there.
I'll tell you
They
why.
can't compete against. They can't compete and have a fighting chance against the men in the male division. They're not strong enough, fast enough, or skilled enough to go against the men in these divisions. So they have to go against the women, at which point they dominate.
Yeah.
And what records have been shattered to the point that no woman could ever fucking reclaim it. People, women who are biological women are getting hurt. I mean, didn't one woman in a cage fight? It was either a cage fight or a boxing match.
Boxing match.
Yeah, got part of her skull caved in because she was hit so hard.
To these blue hair feminazi cunts, you have no argument. You have no dog in this fight. Trans cross-dressers cannot get pregnant.
Here's the thing. Why the blue hair? Why blue hair? Why go around looking like a fucking Smurf busting a nut on your head?
Question. If you have blue hair, does it match the carpet?
No, it doesn't.
Please don't.
I was with a chick. You know who I'm talking about. She had blue hair. The carpet did not match the drapes.
All right, good.
I can attest. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But like even with her, dude, like she would dye her hair blue, and after a week, like after the first wash, it was so diluted. It was like a freaking dingy gray. It's like, why do this? It's so ugly. Even at its peak, right after getting it dyed, it looks so fucking stupid. And then you wash it, and it looks even stupider.
I knew this
chick. Like, why do you do this?
I knew this chick once. She dyed both her hair and her pubes blue. Last week, the week after that, she called me and she goes, "You know what? No, you wouldn't believe what I got." In my head, I'm thinking a blue waffle. She goes, "I got a blue waffle."
Literal blue waffle brought to you by Meth Monster Blue. Because pretended to be Alex Jones. See, I told you I'll make that joke all day.
So I asked her.
Methylene Blue. I hear a lot of good things. I hear nothing bad about it, but where a joke be made, a joke's going to be made.
So I asked her, since you have a blue waffle, which syrup did you use? or was it ketchup?
To quote Monty Python, Donde es Domine, Donde es Requiem. Yeah, woke culture, it's nothing new, but it's one of those things that we really just need to get a handle on. You know, if you don't want your kids exposed to it, we need to make sure our kids aren't exposed to it. And we need to make sure the government does not have a fucking say in the matter as to what's being taught in our schooling as far as this shit is concerned. And as far as, you know, what's on the media or on the internet, that's for us to regulate, not the government to regulate. And we need to start playing more of an active role in protecting our children from this. And if that means mothers have to get out of the fucking workforce and rebuild the family unit,
take the phone
in
away.
order to educate and protect our children. You know, mothers are supposed to be the protectors of their children. You know, but you can't do that if you're at work, bitch.
Take the phone away.
Yeah, why the fuck are the little kids got $1,000 phone? Okay, I couldn't keep from fucking busting out a magnifying glass and melting my action figures at 8 years old. You don't fucking give an 8-year-old a goddamn cell phone that costs $800.
Take the phone away. Introduce them to Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. Introduce them to the Three Stooges.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. Renee Stimpy. Beavis and Butthead.
Original Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yes.
Not the new age Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
No.
You know, you probably don't want little kids watching things like Beavis and Butthead and South Park or Rick and Morty.
No.
Or even Ren and Stimpy. Hell, we shouldn't have been watching Ren and Stimpy when we were kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that stuff as an adult and go, how the hell did this get okay for children?
Scooby-Doo.
I mean, Scooby-Doo's okay. You know, just going around solving mysteries.
Dude.
What?
You have a guy who has the munchies and has a talking dog.
Yeah. But, you know, what little kid makes that correlation?
My son.
Yeah, I would say kids this generation are probably a lot sharper than we were at that age.
You know?
I'm not going to lie. I was a dumb kid.
Me, I was an asshole.
Hell, we're still assholes.
Huh?
But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I think the parents need to, you know, get back to being a family unit. You know, I think we need to get back to what we used to be, you know, undo this, you know, breaking up the nuclear family. I think we need to rebuild the nuclear family.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got women plus kids that have ADD.
Yeah. ADD, autism, and all this other shit. Hey, your kid's being a kid, so yeah, he needs to be fucking medicated.
That's the
that's genius.
ADD, ADHD, all different dads.
Yeah. I mean, I think we need to get back to, you know, I think the red pill community is onto something, and maybe we can expound on this later. But, you know, parents, you know, I think we need to get back to the nuclear family dynamic and start having more of a vested interest and playing a more active and predominant role in our children's development. Stop letting the government dictate everything, especially where the family and the children are concerned, because that's what's got us into this fucking mess.
Not just that, but you got kids playing on the cell phone and shit, you know.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't be doing that if the parents were had the ability to take more of an active role in their child's development. They could take the phone away. Take them out to the fucking park. Take them to a fucking zoo. You know, take them to a fucking museum. Get them out of the fucking house. You know, if we start that shift, you know, pulling away, you know, even if we just had the mother at home,
do you know what?
We rebuilt the nuclear family. If we rebuilt the nuclear family, and while the father is at work, the mother took the child out and did activities with the children, took the phone away, and shifted away from that dynamic. And parents started educating their kids themselves by like taking to the zoo or a museum or something, this would be a very different world. Very
This
quick.
here made me happy.
Okay.
I went to the store about a month ago, about 2 months ago. I seen young kids, even 2 girls, riding on a skateboard. That put a smile on my face because you know what? We need more girls in skateboarding.
Yeah. We need more kids out playing. And unfortunately, you know, we got the human trafficking and kidnapping shit as a very predominant problem. But, you know, if that can get under control and we can get back to the good old days of kids riding their bikes, you know, making dirt bike ramps and doing jumps and, you know, playing in the neighborhood and until the street lights came on.
Yeah.
You know, I think if we could get back to that dynamic, our society would definitely improve greatly.
Oh yeah.
But we need to get back to that. We, as people, not government, need to get back to that. We need to get back to the nuclear family. We need to get back to a society where our children could play and run around. Like I had a roommate a couple years ago. She had 2 kids, and she wouldn't even let the kids go play outside. And I'm not in a bad neighborhood. It's not the best. It wasn't the best neighborhood, but it wasn't a bad neighborhood. Not like California. But still, she wouldn't let her kids go out and play outside because she was too afraid something would happen. We need to get away from that. And, you know, we need to get back to where we were when we were kids, where we were playing in the fucking street. Until the street lights came on. We need to get back to that type of society.
I grew up on hose water, and I grew up on hose water and sarcasm.
Exactly. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to the nuclear family and hose water.
We watched ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we got ourselves in a lot of trouble a lot of times, you know, because, you know, we were unfortunately, at least for me, and a lot of kids in my position, were single family homes, a single parent home, where mom was either at work or doped up watching soap operas, chasing dick. You know, that was a very predominant thing in the 80s and 90s. No denying it. Parents would kick their kids out of the house during the day so they could have some peace and quiet. What the parents did during that quiet time would vary from parent to parent, but you know, it is what it is. But we definitely need to get back to the nuclear family and parents having playing a more active, predominant role in the development of our children. It's not just about education reform and government this and government that. No, we need to take the control back. We need to undo all this bullshit that Clinton did, you know, with child services and, oh, you can't spank your kids because that's abuse bullshit. Fuck you. I got my fucking ass beat as a fucking kid. I had to go out and find a fucking switch when I was a fucking kid. I got hit with everything when I was a fucking kid, whether it be a fucking belt, a fly swatter, a flip-flop.
Wooden spoon.
Hell, my sister got a fucking frying pan thrown at her once.
Wooden spoon, man.
Say it?
A wooden spoon.
Wooden spoon? Yeah. I mean, if it can be used as a freaking beating tool, we got beat with it.
My mom broke 3 over my head. She broke 3 over my head, man.
Yeah, I mean,
that was parenting.
Yeah, I mean, you remember you remember Axe? You know, he's been on the podcast. He's been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
You know, he was setting up my mom's computer back in the early days of, you know, when internet was still a new thing. My mom had gotten a computer, and Robbie was over at the house setting it up. And my mom flipped out on my sister and threw a fucking frying pan at her. And poor Robbie, he's just sitting there at the computer. He just finishes up. All done. Ran out the fucking door. I mean, that's just the kind of parenting we grew up in. And
Oh, hell yeah, man.
not saying anything for or against it, but
That was parenting.
you know,
man.
we're not the ones cutting our genitals off.
No.
You know, we got common sense beat into us whether we want to do or not.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I'm not saying anything for or against, you know, that kind of punishment, but I am saying that I am for, you know, getting back to the nuclear family and parents playing a more dynamic or dominant role in their children's development. That's what needs to happen. And at which point, you know, when the media is no longer able to get to our kids, because that's what it's about. They want to control the kids. They want to have access to the kids. It's all about controlling the kids, having access to them, controlling what they think, and using them however the government and their creepy little pedo friends want to.
Yeah.
And they don't have to change their fucking narratives. They don't have to produce good content. They don't have to worry about losing billions of fucking dollars because they have unlimited access to the children to instill in them whatever the fuck narrative bullshit they want. And that's what it's about. We need to cut them off at the pass. Forget game and movie rating systems. Okay? Just be a parent and use common fucking sense. Oh, a fucking horror movie where kids are in the woods having sex and getting slashed up by a killer with a hockey mask. Yeah, probably not the best film for my 4-year-old.
Teachers
Yeah.
teachers that are pushing this bullshit need to be fired immediately.
Well, it's not just them. It's the government pushing this
School
shit.
board.
Yeah. Well, it's above the school boards even. The school boards are told by the government what to teach, and the governments tell the school boards what to teach, at which point the school boards tell the teachers, and the teachers teach the students. Okay, but if you cut off access to this shit and you have a mother or a father at home who can homeschool their kids, they control what their children learn.
Yeah.
They can learn real history. They can learn why World War I and World War II actually happened. They can learn that the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers funded every major war since the time of Napoleon.
Viggo Mortensen was in a movie where he homeschooled his kids, and his youngest daughter knew about the Constitution.
Yeah.
And the Bill of Rights.
You can teach your kids about the Constitution. You can teach them handwriting. You can teach them what the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence says.
It was cool because when he asked the boy about the Citizens United, didn't know a fucking thing. The little girl did.
Yeah. And that's what we need to get back to. We need to make that shift. And homeschooling is becoming a very prominent option in today's society, and I'm all for it. You know, parents need to be able to not only have a say, but have executive control over what information their kids not only have access to, but are being subjected to.
Oh, big time.
Forget the rating systems, forget government involvement. If you take the kids away from the media and away from these program systems, these MK Ultra systems, it'll stop. It'll stop real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You take away the audience, the bullshit stops.
It's time to teach the kids civics.
Yep. And we need to be more mindful, and we need to start being mindful of what our kids watch, what video games our kids play, and what toys our kids have access to. Because how many little kids got those Wicked dolls when they first came out and went to wicked.com and saw some chick getting fucking spit roasted.
My son, he was 10 years old, and he wanted Resident Evil.
Yeah.
He goes, Dad.
And if you think your kid can handle it, that's your discretion as a parent.
Yeah. The guy looked at me, he goes, sure. Yeah.
And if your kid starts going in the street and bashing people in the head with a baseball bat playing zombies, then yeah, you whoop his ass.
Yeah.
It's time for parents to be parents again, I think. Get the government out of this shit. Get the media out of this shit. That's the only way it's going to stop.
I bought my son an Xbox 360, PS3, PSP, a PS Vita. Only reason is grades.
Yeah.
You gotta get good grades. Do you try at home? Listen to your mom. You're good. I have no problem with that. But if you get your grades up, your chores, listen to your mom, don't give her any shit, then maybe.
Yeah. But you also kept an eye on the things that your kid was being exposed to, and you knew what your kid could handle and how he would respond to having certain games, like Resident Evil for N64. Parents who are invested in their kids and active in their children's lives know what kind of kids they have and, what their kids are going to be okay with. I mean, at 8 years old, I was watching the Friday the 13th movies.
Gen X parents make better parents.
Yeah, well, I mean, growing up, at 8 years old, I was watching Friday the 13th.
Tell you why. Why. We've been there, done that. We've seen horror movies. We've read horror comics. We've been there, done that. And
yeah,
any kid whose parents are Gen Xers, you're in good hands. You're in good hands.
Yeah, because
we've been there, done that. And plus, we didn't give a fuck what anybody tells us. But, hey, fuck yourself. I got this. My kid, fuck off.
Exactly. And, like I was saying, I grew up watching Friday the 13th from the time I was 8 years old. But I didn't go around hacking people up with a machete. Yeah. I knew. I mean, I probably wasn't the best kid. I made some very dumb decisions in my life. There's quite a few stories I could tell. I wasn't perfect by any means, but
Me neither. I put my sister in the dryer and started it.
Not a good selling point, brother. Not a good selling point.
I left my sister hanging on the garage door. My dad was on the car. It's not my sister's hanging there. He ran, man.
You're not making this a very good selling point.
But in reality, at the time, Yeah, we did some stupid shit too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the kids are going to do stupid shit, naturally.
kids are going to do stupid shit and learn from it. We don't need someone telling us, "Well, we'll take care of it." No, you won't, motherfucker. No, you
You
will
just
not.
make the situation worse.
Kids these days need to have put the fucking
Kids
phone
need
down.
their parents.
Put the
Both of
fucking
them.
phone, yeah. Put the phone down. Open a book. Read the son of a bitch. You know. Don't
Yeah.
listen to it. Don't let your siblings watch some cucky fucker read a book to your siblings and shit in school, because all that is doing is promoting child grooming.
Yeah. And, you know, don't go Kindle either. Don't do ebooks. Get real fucking
my
books.
grandfather, if he was still alive today and he saw that, he would kick the shit out of that perverted bastard, man.
Yeah.
Old school
I mean,
shit, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, don't go Kindle. You know, you want to get away from technology. You know, if for no other reason, you know, apart from you want to minimize the media's influence over your children. But one case of a power outage or something, okay, you ain't gonna have TV. You ain't gonna have.
Turn on a radio. Put batteries in it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, even then, that's still propaganda. That's still a propaganda machine. But like in terms of a book, get a hard copy.
Get a book.
The original L. Frank Baum, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Okay? A great book. I don't have it on Kindle or nothing like that. I've got the actual book. I've got the entire series. Right? I mean, you got plenty of good books. For kids, not just things like Wizard of Oz, but Goosebumps. You remember Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Goosebumps needs to make a comeback. Get your kids Goosebumps, man.
Star Wars.
Yeah, get the original Star Wars books. Animorphs. Animorphs was a good series.
The Hobbit.
Yeah, Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. Even old horror books, like the original Bram Stoker's Dracula. Those are good books too. You get the classics. There are so many adventures, man. Like, I mean, shows like Reading Rainbow. Remember Reading Rainbow?
Yeah. I watch it every week, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was back in the good old days when, reading was really pushed, man. That was one thing I can say about the 90s. They were really big on pushing kids to learn to read. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, you had things like Reading Rainbow. You had Pizza Hut that had this little thing. If you read so many books, you had like this little sticker. And if you read like 4 books, you could get these little checkoffs and take it into Pizza Hut, and they give you a little personal pan pizza for free. I mean, we need to get back to that. And that's one thing too. Before we close this out, that's one thing I want to dive into as well. This whole thing with restaurant chains. Like, what the hell are they doing, man? Like, Cracker Barrel made one of their restaurants look like a fucking hospital. It's like, dude, it's so bland, so tasteless. And it started with McDonald's, then Taco Bell, then pretty much every major restaurant chain is following this narrative that they need to be this square, gray, bland bullshit. I mean, McDonald's used to have the Golden Arches as part of their building.
Yeah.
And then, they went to the weird shaped red roof thing, and they had the play place. They used to be able to host your birthday parties there. We need to get back to that kind of shit. Even Burger King used to have a play place back in the day.
Burger King, McDonald's, Carl's Jr.'s and shit. Those were the days, man. Those were the days, man. I mean, that I can remember. I mean,
yeah,
those were the days.
Pizza Hut used to have dine-in, and they even had a fucking buffet back in the day. But now Pizza Hut, it's just like every other fast food, changes this square gray building. I mean, if you didn't have the fucking logo and the name on the building, you wouldn't know what it was because they all look the same. Bring some diversity to it. Bring some character to it. Bring some life to it.
I remember we went to Pizza Hut, and they would play an old Yogi Bear cartoon.
Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera shit, man. Yogi Bear, El Kabong.
Yeah. We really need to get back to those old ideas. I mean, just because they're old doesn't mean they're out of style or out of date or that they were a bad idea. Okay? We need to get back to the human experience, and that is something we are shifting away from. It's the human experience in favor of the robot experience. Like, you have a McDonald's in Texas that is completely fucking automated. That's ridiculous. You have
it's taking away the experience of working, man.
Well, not just work, but human interaction.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll agree with. People do need human interaction. I see a lot of the memes around, the whole woke person approaching the conservative going, if your kids don't go to school, they won't fit into society. And the conservative goes, that's the point. I mean, we do need human interaction. We don't need that brainwashing bullshit. But, we do need to be able to interact with each other. And that's one thing we are shifting away from, and we need to stop. We need to get back to the human experience. We need to get back to birthday parties at Chuck E. Cheese. We need to be able to get back to a society where our kids can play with other kids in the neighborhood, in the streets, until the light comes on without having to worry about some fucking rapist or child predator raping them, killing them, or human trafficking them. Okay, we need to get back to those simpler times. The 80s and 90s, I think, need to make a comeback. Answer.
In your neck of the woods, do you see ice cream trucks take like at night?
Yes. No. We do have ice cream trucks that come through here during the day. Absolutely. But never at night. That was never a thing, because what kids are out at night?
No.
Okay, back in our day, if we weren't in if we didn't come in when the street lights came on, we got our asses whooped.
There's a thing going on where people are
Ice cream
seeing
trucks are coming at night. Yeah.
people are seeing ice cream vehicle vans and stuff like that in neighborhoods. We need to have parents patrol neighborhood.
Well, I mean,
Get
a lot of
together.
neighborhoods, used to be neighborhood watch. I mean, you still see the signs to this day, but you really don't have that like it used to be.
No.
You don't. you don't have active neighborhood watches anymore. You didn't have communities of parents and neighbors who looked out for each other. I mean, in my old place, I used to have I had a bunch of trees in my yard and whatnot. And all the neighborhood kids would come and play in my yard and whatnot. And, you know, I'd sit in my kitchen or I'd sit in my living room and I'd, you know, keep an eye on them, you know, make sure nobody got hurt. You know, that's the kind of community we need. It's like where the kids can play and know that they're safe. And the parents can know that even if they're not around, another responsible adult is going to be around. And kids are going to be safe. You know, we need to get back to that point where we are a community again. You know, forget this online community shit. We need real communities.
We need to see faces that we can meet and talk to and get parents together and get down to business, because you never know that one of your neighbors can be just moved in, could be a Herbert the pervert.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, we took more of a firmer stance on that. You know, and got back to, you know, being hard asses about what is and is not acceptable in society and reshaping society to what we want it to be rather than what corporations want it to be. Then we wouldn't have this problem. I mean, you look at BlackRock and
Vanguard,
Blackstone buying up all the fucking properties. It's a big thing now about Blackstone buying up all the fucking real estate, all those houses that went up during the economic boom back in the early 2000s, owned by Blackstone, creating a renter society. The Palisades and Maui getting burnt the fuck down in favor of hotels and low-income housing units, coffin apartments. That shit needs to stop. You know, these corporations, you know, there needs to be a ban on corporations owning residential properties. You know, I think it needs to go back to being privately owned, and private property rights need to be absolute again, because that's the biggest problem. You have to have an incorporation, an LLC, and fucking and all this other shit just to protect your assets in case you're sued or this or that. You know, you have to have an LLC, you got to have this, you got to have that, just so that even if you are sued, you don't lose your fucking property or get half of it taken in a divorce. I mean, we need to get back to, you know, where private property rights are absolute, and you're not going to lose your property because of taxation or divorce or this or that. You know, what's yours is yours.
Yeah.
You know, the government needs to get its fucking nose out of civilian life, because that's what's created this problem ever since Clinton. You know, with his whole child services thing, you know, it's just the government infringing on the family and civilian life.
You have these multimillionaires buying up trailer parks.
Yeah.
And raising the rent.
Yep. That happened where I used to live too.
The reason why we have the home parks is because rent is cheap and affordable.
Yep.
You buy
the house I used to live in.
You plan it at the park lot. You pay your rent, your utilities. You're good until a dumbass motherfucker of a multimillionaire buying the trailer park you're living in and raising your fucking rent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to have money in order to invest in real estate naturally, but it shouldn't be owned by corporations for sure. I think it needs to be, even if it's owned by a rich person. I mean, you had there's a mobile home complex in California, in Hemet, California, that is owned by a former baseball player. Not a lot of problems there. You know, the cost of living was reasonable. The facilities there were awesome. It was a nice place. It's not like a Southern trailer park that you see in a movie or anything like that.
No.
You know, it was, you know, paved streets, a gym, swimming pools. You know, it was like a freaking apartment complex, but mobile homes.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like RV trailers. I'm talking like actual mobile homes.
Yeah.
But then again, you have other people, you know, like the trailer that I used to live in. It was a 1-bedroom, single wide, dilapidated piece of shit. When I first moved in, some relatives of Lucid's now ex-wife owned the property, but then they were bought out by another guy, and he doubled the rent. So my rent went from $250 to over $400 when this guy took over, and he didn't do shit to improve the community at all. He put in some new units, but he really didn't do anything to improve it. In fact, he brought drug addicts moved in to the area. It became really bad. It wasn't until he lost ownership and had to auction it off and somebody else came in that things really got turned around. Rent didn't go up very much, but things did improve in that community big time.
I used to live in my grandparents' old house after they died, and we were paying $400 a month to my uncle.
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on where you live and who owns it, because you can get some rich people who are really nice.
And the thing was, my dad at the time, he's gone during the week, 5 days a week, out of town.
Yeah.
Like, me, my son, and his mom were renting my grandparents' old house.
Yeah.
It was built in 1920 at the time. And my uncle didn't do a fucking thing. The night time I was living there. He did two things. Put in a sink and a port for the heater. That's it. He's a landlord. Okay?
Yeah.
My dad didn't have time to do this shit. But he made some time because my dad works during the week, off on the weekends, has to go back in the morning, Monday morning, Pissed my dad off.
Yeah.
And my uncle, his wife, is a cunt. Spoiled. Cunt. Wanted money. Wanted to live the lifestyle, the life. She was still a cunt. So are my cousins. They're also cunts.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to find good people and bad people all the way around.
Fucking hate them. Because spoiled, entitled, and the thing is, growing up, I got blamed for a lot of shit my cousins did. I got blamed most of the time.
Yeah.
When I lived there at the house, my uncle blamed me and my sister for the reason why the city came out for the house. That pissed my dad off.
I'll bet.
The house was almost 100 years old anyway. It was built in 1920. Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty old house.
It was almost 90 years old when I moved out. If it's still around, it would have been 105 years old.
Oh wow.
Check this out. I was raking the leaves under an orange tree. I saw this key. Okay. Skeleton key. I picked it up, took it in the house. Our back door has this old skeleton key lock thing. I put the key in it, turned it, it worked.
Nice.
What? What? And so I got tired of living there because of the bullshit. And I got accused of calling the city on the house.
Really?
I got mad at my cousin one time. I said the house is going to get condemned. I was just blowing hot air. That's it, hot air.
But then the city wound up getting involved, and you caught the blame.
Yeah. And so my one aunt who was the third owner of the house, it was her, my uncle, my dad. They all owned the house, the property, and everything else. But my dad was paying the property tax on it anyway. And so I kind of got mad about that because my dad took care of everything at the property, everything,
Yeah.
And it got to a point where, my dad doesn't need this shit, They sold the property. Made my dad feel good because he didn't have to deal with that shit. Didn't blame him one bit. So my uncle was money hungry and shit, that cocksucker. And I felt sorry for my dad because he's the one that did most of the stuff in the house anyway, And it wasn't right. It wasn't right at all. I mean, it's like, why is he paying for the property tax, paying for repairs, all that crap? It pissed me off because my dad was out of town working, take care of, supporting a wife, kids already at the house, yeah. And my mom, 20 years, it'll be 20 years this December. She had open heart surgery in 2005. My dad had hip surgery in 2007.
Yeah.
But yet my dad still had to take care of this shit, man. I'm like, it bugged me because my dad and my mom should be take care of themselves and not have to pay for a property tax on
on somebody else's property.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shady people like that. And sometimes those people are members of our own family. I've got them. I think everybody's got one.
Oh yeah.
At least one in their family.
Yeah.
And and I think, especially where property is concerned, especially residential properties, you got to be very careful about who you rent from or who you buy from and where you buy and whatnot.
Never rent from family.
No, because that can go sour real
They
quick.
will fuck you. They will fuck you financially, man. They will fuck you over, dude.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like you don't date people you work with. It's just one of the. It all goes into the old saying, "Don't shit where you eat." You know, just certain things you don't do. You don't go into business with family. You don't rent property from family. You don't date your coworkers. You know, just certain things you don't do. And
Don't date your coworker, but you can fuck his wife, but not the coworker. You know. I had to go there. I had to go there.
You would go there, but you know, we got to go ahead and call it. We've been at this for nearly 2.5 hours. But it's definitely been a good conversation, and I think we'll just close it out with, you know, I think we need to get back to the way things used to be. You know, the nuclear family and people being a community again. And as far as we go, you know, I hope Connor can make it back soon. And I need to turn this music down a little bit here. Yeah, that's Lucy's music in the background, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Try to include him a little bit. You know, he's got his own thing going on. He's doing a lot better. And TWWRN is actually doing a lot better. You know, we're moving forward. I noticed we've had about, on average, 6 to 8 viewers throughout this entire podcast. You know, this is amazing. We're growing. And for anybody watching this, you know, thank you for tuning in. And, you know, continue to help us grow and expand. Share the podcast, share the links. The store, our online store, is now open. The link to that is in the description on YouTube. Go ahead and check out some of the merch there. We got our logo shirts, coffee mugs, a few other things. We've got new shirts, new designs coming out. I've got a few designs in the works. They'll be coming out within the next few weeks to a month. And those are going to be a lot of fun. You know, help support the broadcast that way. Share the links. Check out the merch in the description, and be sure to follow us on Rumble. Help us grow our numbers there, as well as on X and on YouTube. And until next time.
Also check out the Anonymous Minority Network on YouTube, Council of Generation X on Rumble, and Mando Network on X.
Yeah, we share all of his content on our X channel at REALTWWRN. Go check us out there. Follow us there. Help us grow our audience. Help us grow our exposure. And until next time, on behalf of Revan and Connor, who couldn't be here, this is the Tin Man with TWWRN with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you are the Resistance.